So, hi everybody. So I have a quick announcement to make. So we have been notified that there's a stalker, and if you're not being contacted by me, Amanda, or Christine, then they're not part of Made of Stars or Storytelling Books channels. So please do not engage with them, and that's just part of our business. Entertainment industry, any industry, you'll have those kind of people. So be sure do not answer back to them. All right, thank you. So on to our topic.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about just like how you're handling the pandemic and what new habits you formed, and if you started any new spiritual practices this past year or two. Because I know I've definitely changed in a lot of ways. So just want to hear anybody's thoughts.
And I didn't even know that I was spiritual until the pandemic.
Yeah.
I was totally unaware and not even open-minded enough to believe in it, to be honest. I started getting curious and looking up like the Bible. Honest, I started questioning all religions, and finding out there's books of the Bible that are like there's like 12 books of the Bible that were taken out and removed for different reasons, and I just started like wondering about like real spiritualism, and then I started thinking about meditation and like group meditations, and how the power of prayer is kind of the same thing. And I just studied. That's how I started, was studying. How did you guys start out?
For me, it's like I've always been meditative, and with the pandemic going on, I literally just meditate almost all day because I have nothing else to do. But that's when I discovered, oh wow, like there's so much more than spirituality. There's like the mindset matters, over your bodies, and what you eat is very mindful too. Like I did not know that. Oh, I knew that, but I didn't know that. If you know what I mean. So
That's
like,
something I need to work on.
so it's like I've done 49 days of vegetarian for a very religious in my culture. Somebody passed, and fortunately my grandmother passed. She was 90.
Sorry.
She was 90. So
Oh,
yeah. So in our religion, Buddhism religion, like you eat 49 days of vegetarianism to pass it on to the person that passed. So they on their journey, they don't encounter any, evils or anything like that. So it's our way of people honoring them. And I didn't know that till actually this pandemic, because my parents, was teaching us, like that's the spiritual side and also the religion side of it. And honestly, beside the religion side and the spiritual side, I felt great. 49 days of vegetarian, it was very hard at first because, I'm used to drinking like, I mean, I drink non-dairy stuff anyway, but like cutting out like meat and things like that was very difficult. So
soda.
yeah, so I've tried
Mm.
many, many different modalities, like cheese, like, that is like cashew cheese and things like that. It's very different to get used to.
Mhm.
But all in all, like I felt great and I lost weight. And not only just you feel great, but spirituality, like I feel like I'm more open to another level. Like I feel things intensely more. I see things intensely more. And I know that may sound a little crazy and nuts, but
Nothing crazy or nuts here.
exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Like you experience a whole lot
So you
spiritually.
just connect more. That's
Yeah.
that's
I
amazing.
feel grounded more, like, you know, so.
Oh, and you talked about the Buddhist religion. It's a beautiful thing. We could do a whole segment on that.
Of
I feel
course.
like that's kind of the core of everything. Um, I mean, just the ideas of it are just amazing. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah, that's a good way to start.
Yeah.
Geez.
Yeah, I mean, we actually both practice Buddhism. Like I wasn't born into it, but we practice like slightly different forms of Buddhism as well. Though I don't practice like vegetarianism, but I am trying to be more plant-based, which is like really important. And I notice even in the short, very, very, very short amount of time that I eat more plant-based, like I do feel more in tune and I do feel more open. And I think that's part of the reason why I have like in the past, like overeat, because I was feeling too much. And it has a kind of like numbing
It
sensation when, you know,
does.
when you eat a ton, you don't have to
Yes.
feel as much. So I think that was part of my like defense mechanism to just continue to eat more. So I didn't have to feel all these like energies, blah, 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 etc. I was like, this is too much. People are too much, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, you know, and a lot of people who are more sensitive or spiritual, they start to go vegan or vegetarian, and it really opens them up. It's just like you have to be ready for it. You know,
Yeah.
you can't just I don't know, sometimes these experiences just come out of nowhere and you're like, you know, so you kind of have to not have as much resistance as you
It's
might naturally have. Yeah.
it's funny that you say that because I have like in like the last 4 or 5 months, because I do intermittent fasting. I only eat once like every 20 to 24 hours. And I like that because it helps me connect, but I haven't been wanting to eat meat. I eat it just because it's easy and I'm usually crashing, but like I'm really craving plant-based foods. It's just not convenient, I want to say, you know, for me personally. So any advice that you guys have on that, I would love, because to me, I'll just do like hummus and carrots because it's like I want salad, but then I can't have salad dressing, you know, and it's just like, I don't know. I like that idea. I want to
Right.
work on that, definitely.
So for me, personally, eating, like I said, go back to 49 days of vegetarianism. My family and I, we found many ways to do dinner. It is very creative ways. Like, you would not imagine, we use like, tofu instead of, um, meat for chicken pad thai. We would be doing tofu pad
I
thai.
can't do tofu. That's another thing.
Yeah,
I get
so
really sick.
yeah, tofu, it's a very high protein, but like you said, some people may not, be used to it or can't have it for whatever reason, but it is a soy-based product. So we use that as like, pot pies, and we also use like, seitons. Ever never try seitan? It was interesting. So we do seitan cakes, like crab cakes. Instead of that, we use seitan, and then we use um, shredded, like, you know, like beef version of, plant-based.
Just during COVID, you guys could just all experiment and
Yeah, exactly.
food.
So, which is great because I was living with my brother-in-law and my cousin at the time. So we had three people ideas and four, to make a meal, each day. And so, like you said, recipes, that was another challenge for us. So instead of that, like we do a lot of like plant-based food, like instead of like you say hummus and stuff, we start making like eggplant hummus ourselves. So we get like eggplant, like especially like the Chinese eggplant is sweeter. You just
Uh,
start it in the oven, you know, and then you just like blend it with like sesame seeds. We just bought like sesame seeds.
Chinese eggplant.
Yeah, sesame seeds. We just put like olive oils and, capers, whatever if the flavor you want. And then we use that as a spread. So sometimes we just use that like a bread spread, or just like you said, a hummus to eat carrots, whatever. So
That
you
sounds so good.
so you have to be very creative, and thank goodness I have family to do that with, during the pandemic.
Yeah,
But
I
it,
was by myself the entire pandemic.
Me too. Me too.
Ugh,
I
it's
think
fun. You were in New
Sue,
York, weren't you?
I was in New York, so it was madness. I mean, honestly, I think our lockdown wasn't as bad as it was in California, but now it's kind of flipping the script, so it's a little weird. But anyways, I actually bought eggplant recently. I want to make some eggplant parm. I mean, Sue is definitely more plant-based than I am. So I'm trying to incorporate like tofu and just more vegetables in general. It doesn't even have to be something you have to like think about too much. Like if I don't have time for fresh veggies, I just use frozen veggies. Um, and like even eggplant parm isn't that hard to make. It's a little tedious because you have to like, you know, dip the like eggplant, you know, you have to slice it and then dip it in the egg and the breadcrumbs. But then once you do that, you just put it in the oven, put some cheese on, and then put tomato sauce. Boom. You know what I mean? So it's like it's actually pretty good. I made it once or twice before, and and unlike most people, Sue lost a lot of weight during the pandemic. I definitely gained some weight because like it was super stressful. And the average person actually gained about 30 pounds, 29 to be exact, during the
Oh,
pandemic, which is insane because we're literally in the midst of an obesity epidemic. And we have been in America for like, I don't know, a couple decades. So most people can't afford to gain any more weight. I mean, going plant-based is a pretty good option. I mean, and I think intermittent fasting is really good too. I want to incorporate that as well, because I don't want to limit myself too much, like by doing like keto or something. I want to do something sustainable.
I have no limits. I mean, yeah, it's
Yeah,
sustainable.
as long as I do a window that's like reasonable for me, I think it's definitely something really
Girl, I
good to
started out with
incorporate.
4 hours. That was my start out window. It was really hard. It was 4 hours. I was like, okay, I'm going to go to work and I'm not going to eat till 12. I'm not going to have coffee, any pastries or anything. And that's how I started. And like after, you know, it kind of gets addicting after a while. And I just love it now. You don't have to stop your day and like eat, make food. I
Mhm.
do crash sometimes, so that's like the hard part. But even if you just do it like 8 hours, you just have that feeling of accomplishment and like, I don't know, it's just, even if you do it one day a week, and then when I eat, I usually eat whatever I want. And I
Yeah.
know that's not good. And that's where, you know, my problem's coming in, where I think I need to go more plant-based because, you know, I live by myself. So I just go to the taco shop or, you know, Jersey Mike's or,
Right.
you know,
I know
kebab
what you
shop.
mean.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
costs the same amount as groceries almost, you know, because groceries are expensive and you have to cook. And
I know.
so, you know, being a single woman with like no man and no friends that live with me, it's like a lot of work to cook and kind of depressing. I mean, cook for
Yeah,
myself.
having a man there wouldn't help with the cooking most of the time anyways. No, I'm just kidding. Let me
You know,
stop.
but they appreciate it. They appreciate it at least. I'm like, are
They
you cooking?
appreciate it, but they're not helping. They're just
That's
appreciating the
true.
food that you prepare. I'm done.
But
Anyways,
you know,
but
I don't do dishes. I'm like, if I cook, you do dishes. I don't do
all
dishes.
right, that's
Yeah,
fair.
that's fair
That's
enough.
fair.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I mean,
that
I
doesn't
know what
happen
you
a lot.
mean because I do like cooking for people. Like I cook for my roommates sometimes. They cook for me, or they'll cook and then they'll be like, "Oh, you know, have some." So like
That's
I think
nice.
that's like, yeah, I think that's a special experience because this is, you know, probably one of the better roommate situations that I've had where we can kind of like collectively, you know, do things. It's nice. It's nice to not have to be so petty with everything. You know what I mean? Like my food, like it's like that kind of like only child situation where it's like my food, no, my groceries, mine. And that's kind of what happens, especially in like big cities like LA, New York. Like it's just like my toilet paper. And I'm just like, all right, everybody, you know, calm down. It's not that serious. But yeah, it's nice. It's definitely nice to share. And I do understand what it's like to not be that inspired cooking for yourself. So I try to get a little more excited and I started looking at recipes because like sometimes cooking for myself is a little bit
You're
boring. I'm not
inspiring
gonna
me
lie.
right now, honestly. You're inspiring me.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
You are.
I
That's
mean,
awesome.
like me and Amanda, we legitly, you know, ask each other, what do you think we should have for dinner? She'll give
I
me
think I did that yesterday. I was like, Sue, was it yesterday or
I'm
the day
like,
before? I was
just
like, Sue,
Google.
what
And
should I make
someone's
for
like,
dinner?
I'm like, Google. And she's just like, well, that's what you're there for. I'm like, well, my brain sometimes just don't work that way. I'm trying to
Okay, I
make
need
my
to do
own
a
dinner.
challenge. I'm gonna give myself like a 5-day challenge in the next couple of weeks to like eat vegan and not eat out. Or vegetarian. You said vegetarian, right?
Yeah, vegetarian.
Yeah.
I'm
I've,
gonna
I've,
challenge myself to that.
yeah, I've actually tried vegan for 2 weeks.
Mhm.
It was like a challenge by my brother. In the pandemic, we challenge each other and what we can, like what we don't think we could do. So we challenge each other. My brother and them challenged me to go vegan. And my brother went vegan with me for 2 weeks because
Really?
I didn't think I could do it. I was like, well, you got to give up this, give up that. It was very, very hard.
Everything.
2 weeks.
What?
Like everything. You got to read the label, like up, like chips, especially chips. They have like, like seasoning or flavoring, like you
Right. That's
toss it out.
intense. Being
Can't have
vegan is
it.
like pretty restrictive. You have to be very
Yes.
disciplined.
Dairy is in everything, I feel like.
I mean,
It
yeah,
actually
dairy,
is,
yeah,
yeah.
that's the thing, dairy. But fortunately, I can't have dairy. It's like I can't have cheese, or I can, but I can't. Like I can't have cheese or milk, but I'll still eat it, but
It's a
still give me the
detox.
one.
It's a free detox.
Yeah, it still give me the one, but like, but you know what I mean? Like I tried not to eat it, but like I said, with the vegan challenge with my brother, like 2.5 weeks, he did it with me just to support me. But my other, family, my sister-in-law, my cousins, sometimes they do it for dinner, not for lunch or breakfast, but for dinner, they'll like,
That's a little sustainable.
well,
I
so
think.
yes, they will make vegan just for, I mean, it was very hard. We tried to go grocery shop. We spent a lot more than we wanted to, but it was a
Yeah.
challenge. We accepted it, and
It's
honestly,
COVID.
yeah, COVID. And then like honestly, I 2 weeks I felt a huge difference. Like your mind feels so clear. Your body, like the first 3 days, I kid you not, my body was shaking because I wasn't eating any of that. Like I felt like I was gonna like pass out, but you're at home. Who cares? I'm not going anywhere.
The perfect
So,
place to pass out. Right here
Yeah.
at
I
home.
was like, okay,
Might as
I'll
well
pass
just
out on the
pass
couch,
at
I'll pass out on my
home.
bed, on the
And your
floor.
family's there.
Exactly.
They can catch you
And then,
when you faint.
yeah, exactly. So it's like, but I found myself drinking a lot more water, which is I don't do. And like
Yeah.
try to fill yourself out, just drink water.
Have you ever tried? So I have done the Whole30, which is I've done it 3 times,
Oh my gosh.
and that is tough because there's sugar in there's sugar in chicken, there's sugar in everything. You can have any sugar, any legumes, any like soy, anything. But that is, I felt good when I got done with it, but I was ready to be done with it because you can have alcohol, and I'm like, oh God, like
Right.
30 days is like a lot. Not that I'm
You
an
did-
alcoholic or anything, but I mean, it's fun to have like a glass of wine or like happy hour or something, So
You did 30 days sugar free?
Oh no, it's 30 days. You can have any dairy, any sugar, any legumes,
Oh my
any basically you can only have plants that are completely organic. That's all you can eat.
Wow.
For
Yeah,
what?
it's very expensive for 30 days.
Mm.
You can drink water, you can have like lemon, but you can't have any type of processed foods. It's just very, very restrictive. You can only have like water. You can't, and plants. And what else? You can have meat. It's supposed to be like organic meat, but I think you can only have certain types of meat.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember it.
Wow.
It was a lot. I did it three years in a row, and I was just like, I'm not doing this anymore. It's too much.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. But
Oh my
and
gosh.
I wasn't even spiritual then, so I didn't even get to have like any type of connection. I was just, I don't think I lost that much weight. I felt good though. So
Maybe you had a connection, but you just weren't aware of it. You
I
just
was not
weren't
aware.
like, yeah. I think a lot of people, they do certain things to kind of like dull their senses, alcohol, self-medicating, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's hard. It's difficult, especially, I'm going to bring it back to the big city thing. Like, it's one thing if you're out in the middle of nowhere, but if you're in a big city and there's just tons of people everywhere, especially like Manhattan, it's like madness. It's like an empath's like worst nightmare.
I loved Manhattan. Oh my, I
Yeah.
loved it so much. But yeah,
Manhattan's a lot of fun, but like, I mean, I don't want to live there personally. But I mean, even the short brief time that
how
I
do you
did
deal
live
with
there,
that? Like the energy in your chest. I couldn't sustain that.
you don't even
Yeah.
realize actually you might because you're so busy like going out and doing this, that, and the other thing. So you might not even realize like how much anxiety it's giving you or whatever you're feeling, because you're just like, okay, it's Friday, okay, it's
Yeah, you're just
Saturday.
moving.
And if you try to stay home for Thursday, someone's gonna be like, what are you doing watching Netflix? You're in Manhattan. Like, are you crazy? Which was my roommate in that case. Like, do you think you're staying at home watching Netflix right now? Because that's not happening. And I was just like, I'm not even dressed. He's like, get dressed. We're going out. We're all going out. So that's just kind of the lifestyle. And I think the pandemic forced a lot of people to sit still, which city people hate. I mean, people on average just hate in general.
I hated it.
I mean, everybody really, really hated it. I mean, moms were just like, I get to spend times with my kids. But I think the average person was like, I can't work. Now I have to deal with my thoughts. I don't like this. I don't want this. And it could have been pretty overwhelming. Some people were like, oh, well, I yarn sweaters and bake bread all quarantine, but I think
But that's what they're
person...
telling us. I feel like that's what they're telling us.
Right.
There's those people out there who just try to sugarcoat everything, and they got to be going through something. It's impossible to spend that much time with yourself and no outside, noise.
Yeah.
Right. I do think that that's like a very, very thin layer of like how they actually felt. Like the outer layer is like, hey, everybody, I'm doing great. And then like underneath that, it's like, I feel a little insecure, a little lonely. I mean, I don't know anyone who didn't feel lonely during the pandemic. Like, it doesn't matter how much bread you break. It doesn't matter how much bread you bake. You're still going to feel like isolated. You know what I mean?
Don't
like,
feel lonely. Jeez.
How much bread can you possibly bake to like ease the loneliness of like not being able to see other people for like a year?
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I mean, it's great if you learn a new language, whatever. Like me and Sue were meditating together. We started like meditating at night, and she
How
was
did you guys
meditating.
start your meditations? Please share with us, because it's a lot of people. I learned how to meditate, but it was very hard learning how. And I'm always telling people it all starts with meditation, and they're like, I can't do it, and everybody's mind is just set to they can't do it. You can. So how did you guys do it? Because maybe other people have friends that they can do it with, like you did, and it'll help transition them into it.
Well, we did as friends, we just call each other. We're like, hey, do you want to do meditation? We call it medi. We just do it medi. And
yeah, quick medi.
We just started doing it. It felt good.
So was it guided?
Yeah. We use
most of the time.
We use YouTube, and we just like do 10 minutes every night. It's like our ritual kind of. It's like, and then during the day.
Amazing.
Yeah, but during the day, like I do it more.
Give me goosebumps.
Yeah,
wow.
I do it.
I don't know why.
Me either. I do it more for myself. Like I have this ritual thing, which Amanda knows. I can't get up without doing a meditation. Out of bed to do a meditation. I don't
Every
care
time we're together, like if she doesn't do her meditation, like we either do it together or she's doing it alone because she's not getting out of bed without doing her morning meditation. It's not happening.
Yeah, I cannot function if I don't do meditation in the morning or at night. Like it just, my mind just start racing, like the thoughts and stuff. And I was just like, like today's a new day. I got, it's a new start. I'm doing like whatever meditation that I'm guided to, like, whatever.
Are you using YouTube or using an app? Do you have like a favorite one?
YouTube. I use YouTube. I used to have Headspace through my work during pandemic. They were paying it for us. So I was using that for a while, for a little while. And my sister-in-law, she's a psychologist. So her school gave her some, other apps and stuff to use too. So we tried that too. Yeah, we were just basically experimental. I very much experimental a lot of things. And I'm a very nature-y person. I love just to sit out and like, but thank God where I live, there's like 2-3 parks I could go to. I just sit there, sit there all day.
Yeah.
And I mean, I could literally sit there all day with with my, phones and, a book or something. And I just like, I don't know, like just the quietness, like calms me and things like that. And I don't like to be in my apartment a lot. And that's really hard for pandemic. Like I literally try to go out every day of just drive out, do something. At one point, my brother says, you gotta stop going out because you're jeopardizing like everybody because like, we don't know what this virus could do or what,
Yeah.
and it was really hard for me. I broke down like numerous times. I had breakdown, like completely breakdown because I could not handle being at home. I'm not that person. And then
Yeah.
like, and like you said, the issue people have, if they're making bread or whatever, and they're not talking about their issue, that's a problem because everybody have some kind of issue. And for me, was the toughest issue was facing myself, being at home and not going out and has to be like find things to do. And there's only so many things you could do,
Yeah.
with four people live or three other people living around you. And everybody is like, we're in a confined space. Everybody is like, try to find things to do. And we fight. Yes, we fight. We get verbal fights, fist fight, like, and then but like at the
This
end,
fights. Sue.
I know. I was like,
no, I mean, we don't get
Did
violent.
something happen that you
It's
didn't tell
fight
me
as
about?
in we were like use each other as like, like punch bag, as in like with pillows. We were like, my sister-in-law was just like, you okay, punch the pillow, get your frustration
oh
out.
my gosh.
Because like I broke down, I could not handle pandemic. I was so hard. Like I wanted to go out, but they wouldn't let me go out.
You know what we did? Like I have like so many friends and people think they're close to me, but they're really like they have really no idea. And it helped me get really close to the close people in my life because we understand. So the pier was open, the San Diego pier. And so we would go down there every morning. We'd get up at 8 a.m. and we go walk around the entire pier up to and just wear our masks, go through Liberty Station. And I would do that every morning. And we would do it at nighttime a lot too. And we would make picnics, or that's when I started running my mountain. So I would just go to the mountain and just run up it and down it for like, I'd be out there for like a couple hours every day because I was going crazy. But then they shut that down.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized I am very codependent because I've never been by myself in my entire life. I had my brothers, had my son when I was 17, got my son out of the house, had a relationship, and then when that didn't work out, everything just like crumbled and I had to like face myself. And that's when COVID happened. And I'm just like so codependent. So the good thing about COVID was that I learned to be by myself and to entertain myself and not be codependent. But now it's like I'm addicted to it. I don't know how to let people back in. So it's like how, once I'm protected now, I'm completely protected. And it's really hard now that things are opening up. Like, yeah, I can have friends or whatever, but like letting people back into my intimate space or like thinking about like a future living with someone is just like very scary to me. Honestly.
I mean, balance is key though. Balance is key at this time because like a lot of people have gotten used to just being alone. Like I've gotten used to being alone too. Like I don't have the energy to even like reconnect or like repair certain friendships that
me too. I just let
like
go.
we should probably talk at this point, but I just don't have the energy right now,
Girl, I feel like those are the friendships we don't need.
Yeah.
They drain us for a reason. We feel the way we feel for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, if an argument can, destroy an entire friendship, was it really like, did it really have a rock solid foundation in the first place? Probably not. If like one petty disagreement or like whatever the case may be, or distance or something like that, all you need to do is add a little bit of pressure to the friendship to realize whether it can actually maintain itself, which in a lot of cases it can't, you know? I mean, Sue basically like moved, like, I mean, the second I met her, she like moved to California and like, and I think for a lot of people, they would be like, no, I'm good. Like, I don't need a friend that I can't see, but like, we really enjoyed like getting to know each other, even though a lot of the time it's through the phone. And
it's amazing what you guys did. I don't know if does everybody know your story? Like
no,
5 years.
We'll have to
5
share a little bit
years.
more.